Ever wondered about the professional dynamics between Meghan Sussex and Ms. Robinson? A question that might seem unexpected, yet it's one we find ourselves intrigued to explore. As we delve into the digital age, where information is just a click away, it becomes quite important to understand the real stories behind the collaborations that make headlines and not just rely on tabloid interpretations. Meghan Sussex, a woman of grace, talent and tenacity, found herself working alongside Ms. Robinson, a powerhouse in her own right, for a Netflix show that set the media abuzz. But what is the real story behind their professional relationship? What role did they play in shaping the narrative of the show? And how did their collaboration influence the final product? Meghan Sussex, often the subject of tabloid frenzy, and Ms., an equally compelling figure, seem to have created a compelling narrative both in front and behind the camera. The tabloids seem to have a field day, spinning tales around their professional relationship, often screaming scandal, controversy, and drama. But what goes on behind the scenes? Is the Meghan Sussex-Ms. Robinson duo as dramatic and scandalous as the tabloids portray? Or is it a tale of two strong, independent women making their mark in the world of entertainment? Let's peel away the layers of tabloid sensationalism and gaze upon the reality of their professional collaboration. Does the picture we see align with these tabloid claims, or does it unveil a different story, one of partnership, mutual respect, and shared creative vision? Our aim here is to separate fact from fiction and present a more balanced view of Meghan Sussex and Ms. Robinson's professional relationship, a view that acknowledges their achievements without downplaying the challenges they faced, a view that celebrates their synergy without ignoring the hurdles. Hold on tight as we delve into their collaboration one episode at a time. In this quest for truth, we invite you to join us, to question, to understand, and to see Meghan Sussex and Ms. Robinson not as tabloid creations, but as the professionals they truly are. Tabloids have never shied away from making bold claims about Meghan Sussex. They thrive on creating a spectacle where none exists, spinning tales out of thin air. But let's delve a little deeper into these claims and see what they're really made of. One of the most repeated allegations is that Meghan is a difficult boss. This claim often resurfaces most recently when a contract with a PR specialist ended. But, as we've already established, this was a case of a project reaching its successful conclusion, not a disgruntled employee fleeing. Then there's the assertion that Meghan is controlling. This particular narrative seems to be spun from Meghan's drive and determination. She's a woman who knows what she wants and isn't afraid to work hard to achieve it. That level of ambition and clarity is often seen as a positive trait, but the tabloids prefer to paint it as a negative. Another favourite claim is that Meghan is always at the centre of controversy. But more often than not, it seems these controversies are created by the tabloids themselves, rather than any actions on Meghan's part. And of course, we can't forget the classic Meghan loses another staff member headlines. These stories often conveniently overlook the fact that many of these roles were temporary or project-based, not people fleeing as they'd have you believe. But what's the truth behind these scandalous headlines? The reality is that Meghan Sussex is a hard-working, ambitious woman, dedicated to her projects and her creative brand. She's not the difficult or controlling figure the tabloids would have you believe. Instead, she's a professional who takes her work seriously and who expects the same level of commitment and professionalism from those she works with. And as for the controversies, they seem to be nothing more than tabloid fodder, designed to sell copies rather than reflect the truth. So next time you see a headline about Meghan Sussex, take it with a grain of salt. Remember, there's always more to the story than what the tabloids would have you believe. But what's the truth behind these scandalous headlines? The truth is, Meghan Sussex is thriving despite the noise. Now, let's delve into the truth about Meghan Sussex. In the face of these sensationalised tabloid claims, the true narrative about Meghan Sussex is often buried beneath layers of misinformation. Yet when you take the time to unearth the facts, a completely different story emerges. As reported by PR Week and E! News, Meghan Sussex's working relationship with Ms. Robinson was based on a project contract. This means that Ms. Robinson was brought on board specifically for the launch of Meghan's Netflix show With Love, Meghan. Once the project reached its successful conclusion, the contract naturally came to an end. This is a standard practice in the industry, far from the dramatic resignation in frustration that the tabloids would have you believe. Moreover, the statement from Meghan's team applauds Ms. Robinson's excellent work and successful completion of the project. It's clear that this was a professional collaboration, not a personal conflict. The tabloids' misrepresentation of this situation is a blatant attempt to sell drama rather than reporting the truth. They've contorted a normal business practice, the end of a contract, into scandalous headlines. But their sensationalism falls apart when faced with the facts. Meghan Sussex is a dedicated professional who consistently produces meaningful projects. She has built a strong creative brand and continues to demonstrate that grace and professionalism are far more powerful than tabloid gossip. In the face of relentless scrutiny, Meghan remains focused and unyielding. She continues to thrive, proving that she is not only resilient, but also unstoppable. This is the real Meghan Sussex, a woman who is much more than the sum of the tabloid headlines about her. So, the next time you come across a sensational headline about Meghan Sussex, remember to dig a little deeper. Look for the facts buried beneath the layers of misinformation, because the truth, as they say, is stranger than fiction. So who is Meghan Sussex really? Beyond the headlines and the sensationalism, Meghan Sussex is a woman of many talents and accomplishments. A former actress, she has now turned her focus towards producing content that matters. She's a force to be reckoned with in the world of media and entertainment, and her show, With Love Meghan, is a testament to her passion and dedication. Meghan is not just a producer, she's a philanthropist, a champion for women's rights, and an advocate for mental health. She uses her platform to create meaningful conversations around these issues, proving that she's not just about creating entertainment, but also about making a difference. She's a woman of resilience, standing strong in the face of relentless scrutiny and criticism. Instead of letting it break her, she uses it as fuel to continue her mission of creating meaningful content and sparking important conversations. Meghan is also a woman of grace. Despite the tabloids' attempts to paint her as difficult and demanding, those who have worked with her describe her as professional, focused, and respectful. She is known to treat everyone on her team with kindness and respect, a leader who values collaboration and teamwork. And let's not forget, she's a mother, navigating the challenges of parenthood while managing her professional responsibilities. She balances these roles with grace and determination, a testament to her strength and resilience. In the face of all the noise, Meghan continues to rise, focusing on her work and the causes she believes in. She's not the diva the tabloids make her out to be. She's a woman of substance, committed to making a difference in whatever way she can. So, let's set the record straight. Meghan Sussex is not just a tabloid headline. She's a powerhouse, a trailblazer, a woman of substance. She's a woman making her mark in the world on her own terms, in her own way. Meghan Sussex, a woman of substance, not just a tabloid headline. Let's take a moment to revisit what we've uncovered. We began by addressing the narrative surrounding Meghan Sussex, a narrative often tainted by the tabloids' urge to sensationalise and scandalise. Rather than focusing on her accomplishments, they've chosen to create a spectacle out of a straightforward project completion. We then moved on to unveil the tabloid claims. We discovered how a standard end to a short-term job was twisted into scandalous headlines, like Meghan loses 10th spin chief. Yet when we looked closer, we found that the actual reports from PR Week and E! News told a very different story. We learned the facts about Meghan Sussex, that this was not a case of someone fleeing, but rather a contract ending, a project successfully completed. Ms. Robinson was hired for a set task, to launch Meghan Sussex's Netflix show, With Love Meghan. Once she fulfilled her role, the project naturally concluded. We also got to know the real Meghan Sussex as we looked beyond the tabloids' distortions. We saw a woman who continues to produce meaningful projects, builds her creative brand, and proves that professionalism and grace outshine gossip. In essence, we've seen how the tabloids have tried to paint Meghan Sussex as a difficult and controversial figure. But the truth is far less scandalous. She is a focused, thriving professional who continues to make her mark in the world, despite the noise created by those seeking to profit from her fame. Remember, the truth about Meghan Sussex lies in her deeds, not in sensational headlines. So, let's not allow ourselves to be swayed by the tabloids' dramatic narratives. Instead, let's appreciate the work Meghan Sussex is doing, the projects she's launching, and the positive impact she's making. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the noise. It's about the work, the effort, and the success. It's about Meghan Sussex, focused, thriving, and unstoppable.